There's a continental-sized island in the Pacific, Ulimaroa. You know of this place. It was never removed from the water. Its name was only changed on paper. For most of human history, the Pacific was not empty space. The entirety of the Pacific Rim was a working world, crossed by oceanic ships, all sharing the technology of the sewn plank, governed by knowledge and held together by trade, kinship, and navigation. The name for this land comes from the people in the water, the large land of the people of vastness, or the great land of the people, Ulimaroa. For generations prior to European arrival, Macussan traders had been trading trepang, the sea cucumber, pearls, pearl shells, and timber. The Torres Strait trade centers on livestock. Large flightless birds like cassowaries, the puaka, or word for pig, and couscous all come through this route. The same types of shell fish hooks are found along this corridor, linking the two different trade networks. It's through these two routes where language, goods, and technology is all exchanged long before European settlement. European maps in the late 1700s to the early 1800s show Ulimaroa was the largest land in the Pacific. This is now called Australia to erase all of that history. Britain did not find Ulimaroa. It was brought to them. Captain Cook stumbles into the Society Islands to track Venus and make claims for Britain. Oceanic mariners like Tupaia actually navigate Captain Cook and negotiate his passage and provision on all his voyages. Tupaia is not a deckhand. He's Nari'i, a high-ranking priest navigator trained to hold geography and memory through stars, currents, surroundings, and story. When Cook's ship moves through the Pacific, it does so using Aboriginal knowledge. For those lost, Tupaia draws a map showing over 130 lands. This connects the long-standing sea route of Te'whe'enui. We witness how the European feebleness is transitioned to influence right here. We do a simple comparison between A Voyage Around the World by Johann Reinhold and George Forster versus an account of the voyages edited by John Hawksworth. This exercise reveals a clear shift in narrative and framing. Forster and Reinhold, also men of the time, with racist ideology separating people of skin color, but they still document the impossibility of the journeys taken without oceanic navigators. Omai guided Cook's second voyage and accompanies him to England. This is where the wisdom and application of knowledge and experience documented in Omai leads to the noble savage trope of the time. Hawksworth takes note that Ulimaroa is the largest island in the Pacific, and it's his editorial intervention that marks the earliest systematic efforts to remove land from the oceanic map. British officers are limited by their own navigational inexperience, and they cannot verify more than 56 islands recorded on Tupaia's map. Rather than recognize this as a limitation of their inexperience, Hawksworth uses this to reduce the map of over 130 islands to 74. What could not be confirmed by European short-sightedness is removed. This is not discovery. This was dispossession. The whole time, Ulimaroa continues to appear on European charts, including those by Aaron Arrowsmith, the official hydrographer to the British Crown. In 1814, Matthew Flinders splits the landmass into two pieces, New Holland and New South Wales. He begins promoting the new name of Australia. Over the next few years, Arrowsmith will alter place names and boundaries on his maps to match the new political mindset. The land didn't change. The oceanic migrant crisis imposed by the West changed the people on the land, thereby changing the story, leaving space to create new ground plans for new charts. By the 1830s, so-called scholars like French officer Jules de Mont d'Urville divided Oceania into racial regions. Melanesia, Micronesia, Polynesia, separated Australia from the Pacific world that it had always been a part of. This framework is still taught today, but the older system can still be observed. Ulimaroa's terrain and stars are mapped by the people of vastness, who sing and share the songlines of the Seven Sisters across the large land of the people. The landscape is dragged from the dream time and flattened onto two-dimensional maps. 7 sister cities are renamed by Europeans who did not build the systems they moved into. This infrastructure remains embedded in Australia today, and it can be traced clearly. Burloo, the Western Gate, where many songlines begin and others end, marks the entry and the exit from the west. Today this is Perth. Mbantua, the Central Heart, where songlines intersect and radiate outward. This is Alice Springs. Tarntanya, the Southern Connection, from the interior to the coast. This is Adelaide. Narm, the Bass Strait Terminal, linking to Lutruwita, which is Tasmania, the modern-day city of Melbourne today. Warrane, the primary Pacific dispatch point. Here is where Sydney is. Mianjin, the Coral Gateway, through the Great Reef. This is Brisbane. Garamila, the northern entry, aligns with migratory routes from Asia. This is Darwin today. The places where these cities are today were not random camps of the past. They were nodes in a continental and oceanic network. The same network brought Makassar traders from Indonesia and Torres traders from Papua New Guinea centuries before Cook. They carried the sea cucumber, tools, language, and animals. We know Puwaka the pig comes from these routes. Many of these trading destinations are described as park-like. Source material says carriage-wide footpaths lead into the interior, some of which you can follow all the way to another artery that connects you to another location along the coastline. These footpaths become regular stock routes and highways in the same way the legs of Tefe and Nui become packet ship routes. When the later colonial historiography claims that the Captain Cooker pig of Aotearoa is the reason pigs run wild in Australia, we know the trade record already said otherwise. What it shows is simple. Australia was not isolated. The Pacific was not empty. Ulimaroa was not a myth. The name of this island comes from a living system of navigation, law, and memory. When it was removed from the map, something real was taken with it. This work is not about rewriting history. It's about remembering it and then reading it back whole. The old charts, the journals, the Aboriginal record, and the land itself still agree. Ulimaroa was always here. You can still see it.